Hi, this is Dan Whitney with the Whitney Law Firm in Towson, Maryland. I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney for about over 10 years, and part of my practice area is suing car dealerships, of course, and also finance companies. Today, we're going to talk about the issue of credit acceptance corporation and illegal finance charges. What has been happening in an increasing manner that's crossing my desk and people are calling about over the past couple of years is the issue of dealers passing on finance charges to customers despite not being allowed to do so. So let me give you a typical scenario, and this is what you would need to look out for. So somebody comes into a dealership, or maybe not a dealership, maybe just a used car lot, often with credit acceptance, that is the case, and they want to buy a car. And what will happen is the dealer will make the decision or come to the determination that the only way that this customer is going to get financed is financing through credit acceptance, which is essentially almost, other than a buy here, pay here, you probably don't have that many options if you're going to be financing with credit acceptance. The credit is low, perhaps income is an issue, credit is an issue, but either way, it's going to be credit acceptance. Credit acceptance has a whole portal, a proprietary software portal, and credit acceptance knows what cars the dealer has on its lot. And once the customer's personal information gets entered into the proprietary software, into the portal, there's a huge amount of criteria and different screens that get clicked through to determine, is this person going to be able to get to buy? What are they going to get to buy? And the point of this video today is to talk about something called the discount fee, which is a very misleading term because it's actually a finance charge fee that credit acceptance is charging to the dealer in order to allow the dealer to process that transaction. The first situation is the finance manager passes on, or the dealer passes on the finance charge and they increase the price, which of course increases in a higher balance you have to pay off. The interest is now being applied to that extra several $1,000s, which can add up significantly when you're talking about 10, 15, 20, 24%. It's a brutal interest rate. I have had many cases so far where a customer comes in to buy a car and the finance manager or the salesperson they're working with will say, well, okay, the price of the car is X, but we are being charged a significant finance charge, or you're being charged a finance charge because your credit isn't great by credit acceptance, and we need to make our money, so we're going to pass that on to you. The second way that I see, now, credit acceptance, all of the contracts I've ever seen through credit acceptance are e-signature. There's like 35 or so pages, e-signature, e-signature, just right on down the line. And what happens is I've had cases where the customer says, I didn't click anything, and they printed out a contract. I looked at it later, and the price was increased by several $1,000s. And then sometimes they'll go back to the dealer and say, why didn't you honor the advertised price? And they'll say, look, we had no choice. We're being charged this discount fee or this bank fee, or you're being charged the discount fee or bank fee, and we're not paying it. You have to pay it. And that's what they'll say. And with the electronic signatures, that's a huge issue, not just with credit acceptance contracts, but with almost any contract now. Many of them are e-signatures. And you really got to be careful when you read a document on a screen, because what happens usually is you click, okay, I'll sign here, and it'll just quickly scroll you down to the next one. And unless you're going to take the time, like almost no one does, scroll back up, read the whole thing, figure out all the numbers, which can be very confusing, especially to somebody who doesn't do this every day. And even then, sometimes it can be confusing. It's very easy to get tricked and taken advantage of. And what they're going to say is, you know, when the customer sees, look, the price is increased by $5,000. I didn't want to do that. They'll say, look, you signed. We have a contract. That's it. You're stuck. And of course, you may not be stuck if you contact an attorney who knows what to do. Things can get worked out, and that happens all the time. But that's what I wanted to share regarding illegal finance charges, especially with credit acceptance when the dealers go to pass them on. In those situations where it's not allowed by state law, then it is an illegal finance charge. Of course, not all finance charges charged by credit acceptance are illegal, only the ones that are in violation of a state or federal statute. So if you are trying to buy a car and you're being told you have to pay that extra finance fee because your credit is poor and the bank is applying it to you, take a minute, step back, contact an attorney, do some of your own research. I know here in Maryland, the statute's very clear about what charges can be charged. But if you are in a state other than Maryland, take your time, do that research under the Financial Act or whatever the different statutes are called in the different states, and do some research. What finance charges are allowed to be charged? And this way you will not be taken advantage of by these dishonest dealers. So I hope this has been helpful and informative. Thank you all very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe if you found this helpful. Give a thumbs up. Thank you so much, and take care.